Hey guys, how's it going? We are off on another pick. YouTuber, subscriber, Dan the man has contacted me, and he has a John Deere 318 that died on him apparently right there. And I haven't seen it yet, but he decided to donate it to us to make a video and see if we could bring it back to life. What was the issue? It just lost power, or?
We were going along, and I think the mower deck seized up, and it shut everything down, and I wasn't quick enough shutting the clutch off.
Okay.
And it just stopped though, and it's got no power now, and I have the books for it, and it said the 20 amp fuses in there.
Okay.
Probably what's blown.
So after the deck locked up, you shut it off, then you went to go restart it, and just nothing was working.
Nothing works.
Okay. These are nice tractors.
It's a nice tractor.
So I think at 318, I think 3 stands for automatics and 18 is the horsepower, correct?
It's a 18 horsepower on it.
And if it was a 2, it'd be standard trans.
Right.
This is power steering. It has,
steering, it's got the front,
yeah, it got outputs for putting,
for snow blowers and stuff like that.
yeah, I like to find a snowblower for it, I think, for the shop.
Yeah.
Keeping a machine over there.
Nice.
It's got the weight to it. It's a nice heavy tank. All right, so we're going to try to figure out how to make this thing roll and get it over on the trailer, because it's the hydrostatic, and when they're not running, they don't move very easily.
It's flat. If you want, I got air.
Oh, cool. Awesome. It's like I was saying, hydrostatics don't roll if they're not running. So somewhere on the tractor, usually there is a lever you can push to make them so that you can free roll. I don't see anything yet. The simpler tractors just have a lever on the back side you pull, but I don't see it on this one yet. Well, it took me a second, but the little arrow was a giveaway. Hopefully it moves. To push manually. I need to go down. A lot of times that stuff gets frozen though and it doesn't work.
Inside the air cleaner, so I did pull the carburetor off, but probably didn't do that good a job of cleaning it.
So it was out in the shed with the cover on, or outside with the cover?
I had a canvas over it.
Okay, outside?
Yeah.
Mice got in it, you cleaned it partially, and
Yeah.
okay.
That's
par. I've been lucky the last like 3 or 4 machines haven't had mice. It's usually 90% in our area.
This thing was, I mean, just packed full. I mean, they were down into the carburetor and everything.
And the last time it ran?
About a week and a half ago.
Oh, okay, good.
So,
and then before that, it just sat for a season. You just used it every year for cutting grass.
yeah.
And now you got a nice new machine.
And this is, I mean, this is my grass here, so it's like, I mean, I'd start it, cut the grass, take 2 seconds to cut the grass, and be done. You know, the biggest problem I had was not enough lawn.
Right. Yeah, we'll see if we get some air in that tire and see if we'll be able to push it.
I'll get my...
So the release on the hydrostatic trans is not releasing. It's common. There's like 2 buttons that get pushed down on the trans, and they have a tendency to rust up. Especially if you don't get used much, so we're going to go and try hooking it up to a tractor. That should do it. That should be good. Hold on, let me fix that. light going on backwards. I have a handheld remote in the truck, but there's no battery in it.
That's a nice setup, actually. If you got,
sure beats a come on.
Oh, yeah.
Zigzag our way all the way into place. That looks perfect. All right, just got back and back in the garage after picking up Lily. It's going to hang out with us this afternoon, right, Lily? All right, let's take a better look at what we got. I'd like to see if we can get it started on the trailer so we can drive it off instead of trying to muscle it onto the lift. It's got a seat cover on it. That usually means the seat's pretty hammered. The tins look pretty good. There's supposed to be a piece of plastic that goes over the gas gauge. This is actually a gauge. There's a little needle in here that's supposed to move with a float that's down on it. It's common for them to crack and fail. Problem is water will get down in the center of that. You might have water in the carb or in the fuel. And he said the mower deck made noise. If we shut it down, and judging by the angle of that idler pulley, I'm looking at this one right here. It's like they probably spit the bearing out of that. I don't know if I'm not concerned about the mower deck. You know, if all pans out well, I would like to try to set this up with a snowblower or a plow for here. Should have an hour meter on it. I think 318s have an hour meter. There it is. Pop my glasses on, we'll see what it says. $677. That's not bad at all. Generally, gas engines on power equipment, 1,500 hours for good stuff, and 3,000 on diesels before rebuilds. That's just a rough estimate, so it's just a little over a third of its life, as long as everything still pans out good and that meter still works. All right, let's start looking into what the electrical issue was with it and see if we can resurrect that part of it. Might be a little wobbly up here because we're up on the trailer. I want to start with the battery just because those terminals look really nasty. So let's see what we got for, first, ain't power in the battery. There is. There's power on the outside of that. There's power on the outside of that. So it's not losing it across the terminals, which I thought might have been a possibility. Let's go. I think I saw the seat safety's already been disconnected, so that's not an issue. You get no dash lights at all. Let me see if the PTO clicks. No. So we lost main power going out. Let's see if we can get these two tins off the side. I'm looking at these guys, that one and the one on the other side. We'll get those out of our way, allow us to get in a little bit further. We can check for also, nothing saying the other end of the ground is good, so let's go back. We know we got a light working. Let's see if we can ground to the body. Yeah. All right, so there is a ground signal. The ground cable is connected on the other end. Let's see if we can get that off. Sure. if it was one or two that hold it. Apparently one. And our hot lead should go right down to the starter. I see a relay of some sort right here. And the other end of the ground lug is here. I'm not really going to be able to get in there to show you, but the starter is right here and the wires go in down below. I can't get a probe on them that easily to go see if they have power down there, but I wiggled on them. I don't see anything that stands out right away. I'm not suspecting that that is the issue. It still could be, but I think looking up at the battery, you could see like butt connectors and different wires and all. So I think our best bet is probably to get the battery right out of our way, and then we'll take a peek and see what we can kind of find up in here. Maybe put a jumper pack on the leads and be able to poke around and see where we do and don't have power up top. Ended up unbolting that battery tray too. Get us a little bit better access to what's down below it. There we go, now we're in. There's a fuse. So there is a large, usually that's a resettable fuse. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So usually there's an accessory wire, and it'll power everything other than the starter. The fat wire goes to draw power to the starter, and then usually has the thinner wire that runs everything else. This is usually a resettable fuse that resets. It gets so hot and it shuts off and clicks back on again. Is that what I think it is? Let's go get a test light. Are we still hooked up? No. Let me get the ground hooked up. Let's see if I'm working. Alright. Let's go see what we have. Power on one side. And let's pull that cap off. Back anyway. And see if power comes out the other side. It is. So that is not our issue. We can go take a look at these two guys. Let me get you in the stand. And let's see if one of these two went bye-bye on us. I think that one's okay. Dirty. I could check it with an ohmmeter. Let's go see if there's even any power here yet. I'm gonna go turn the key to the on position. Yeah, so that doesn't even see power yet. So it wouldn't be that one. That one looks pretty good. Let's see if we have any power going to these. Nope. It's on them. I'm going to chase that red one. That red one go to here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to take this thing to the pressure washer. Again, maybe we'll wait to see if we can get it running first though. Let's, I wonder if we can get behind to the ignition switch. My ground came off my test light, so I do have power on that side. Holders are kind of nasty. Let's back probe this one. Okay, power's going through that one. And power on that side. And do we have the same scenario? Can we probe? Yeah. We do not have power. Let's go take a better look at that one. It is suspect. Okay, so that was a 25, and that fuse was no good. I have the key off right now. Let's see. You can actually probe the back of those fuses too. I forgot about that. You can get this one in. It's kind of racked. The socket's kind of racked. You think it's easy. Come on, get in there. Who's your daddy? Well, China wants its fuses back. Just need a little manipulation. Let's go turn the key on. Didn't blow, and the dash light did come on. All right. And the battery light is on. Yeah, you can probe the back of them. Like that and that. I forgot. Let's see if it will crank. Hold on. It just arced out the jumper pack connection. I'm going to take a second and take a wire wheel and clean all these. This is where the arc came out of right here. I'm gonna take a second, clean all these up a little bit so we get good contact and get some of the junk off the tractor, and we'll see if it'll fire up. Dog. Dog bed. Dog. I would say you can afford to be replaced, but I don't have any quite yet. That should do it. Let's see what it does. Throttle. Does nothing. Bet you blew that fuse again, so whatever it is drawing too much current. Actually, I wheeled that around, it came on. We have, I'll show you. Getting closer. Yeah, so you can see the dash lights off. If I go to move the harness. I would say probably the wire on the starter. On the key switch rather. Yeah. See what it does if I go to crank it. Let's give her, is the gas on? It is. Let's go for some choke. You said it was hard starting too, so I'm sure it's going to need all the normal love. I can't tell if that choke is closing all the way. Can you? Open, closed. Let's give her a little. He's got starting fluid in the back. Actually, I'm gonna go get my little squirt bottle. We'll squirt a little bit of fuel in it, see if it coughs. Yeah, let's go dump a little bit of fuel right in it. Give that nice a rub. Yeah. I'm going to give it a little bit of choke. See if it'll stay right on the choke. The battery light is staying on. Probably not charging due to the wires on the ignition. Charge light went out. Yeah, the wiring is just all kind of really punky down in there. We go pull the ignition switch and clean up all the ends on that and some of this. I say we go get the ramps set up on the trailer, get it off of here, and we'll get it over on the table where we can kind of work on a little bit more comfortable. But before I do that, the mower deck is a hydraulic. I want to get it up in the air. It'll be easier for us to move it around. But it's got to be running to do so. Put the seat will fire back. Let's see if we get it off the trailer. Put a bag over the seat because it's sopping wet. Pretty tappy. Not terrible, but I think I might change our plans a little bit. I think it should really get a date with the pressure washer and we'll kind of clean it off real good instead of us trying to work on the scuds. Right, Lily? What do you think? Now that we thoroughly soaked it, what do you think the chances are it's going to start for us? I figure out how to get up on it. This is going to be wet. Oh yeah. Let's see what happens. Alright. I wouldn't say it liked it. Look out, Lily. We're coming through. Maybe. Well. It liked it right up to that point, I guess. There it goes. It smells like mouse piss. Well, the boss says she wants to go home. She's tired of walking around here. And I think what we'll do is we'll just let this thing drip dry over the course of the evening, and tomorrow it should be fairly dry and we start getting onto it from there. Hi guys, so it's the next day. It's all dried off. That worked out quite well. be a little bit more enjoyable to work on. I think the next thing we want to get into is getting that mower deck out of the way. I am probably not going to use it, but who knows, and it needs to be repaired anyway. So I believe we got to pop the front grill out, and then we need to back off on the mule. That's the mule set of pulleys that are down here that tension the belt. Pop 4 bolts out of the grill. It should come out. Looks like the whole assembly is going to come out. I thought the grill popped out of these things independent. May end up just taking the whole hood. Let's get a bunch of bolts out of that hood. Let's see if we can get that whole assembly off of there. There we go. That'll get a little easier to work on. So one thing he was saying was the mower deck started to bind up and he didn't shut it off in time, and then it just died and blew the fuse. I don't understand why that would blow the fuse. It has an electric clutch or PTO that runs the mower deck, but it's pretty much it's not looking at the load that is on there. It's just you're sending power to it, you're energizing a coil, it turns into a magnet and just turns it on and off. It's not like the load changes how much draw is on that circuit. So I'm not quite sure what the issue is or was, why it blew the fuse. Maybe we'll just keep an eye on it. I don't know if something's just kind of chafing and grounding, or a relay is not doing what it's supposed to. So again, see if we get the mower deck off. This little lever sticking out here, this is like a tell for the tension, how much tension you have on it. It should be about in the middle. There was probably a decal on there at one point, but it wore off. You might even be able to just lift up on it. There we go. I don't allow that to get out of there. And to get the deck off, we got a pin here, a pin on the other side. These are the two that lift and lower the deck. They're probably hooked to the hydraulic cylinder. And then it's supported by 2 pins that you pull here, and I believe 2 in the front. Actually, these right here. I'm going to pull those 6 actually, and get that deck to drop down. I think we can get the mule off the front now that the deck has been dropped. Yeah. It hangs off those 2 pins from the deck, pulls it forward, and so does the belt tension. This ought to be nice and light, huh? Pee in water. Let's go take a peek what failed on that while it's kind of up in the air. Wanna? The only thing I see is this one really pitched on an angle. And he's looking. Like the bracket's kind of hanging. I think it's almost ready to rip out of the deck. Let's spin the whole assembly. Sounds a little noisy, but not terrible. This one might be hitting the lift. It is. Yeah, it's got noisy bearings. Oh yeah, that one's got issues. And what do we get down here? That one's a little. That one's generating the white noise, which is generally when they're on their way out. That one might be a little suspect. Yeah. She's noisy all about. So it has the issues of having a hard time starting when cold. He's been starting with starter fluid. it's due for a decent service, and or the fuel actually seems like it's dried up from there. There should be some fuel in that. So I don't know if it has a leak and it's allowing it to purge back. I also noticed it is running a pulse pump, fuel pump. Generally this runs to the crankcase somewhere, and it gets a pulse from the crankcase, which fires like a diaphragm inside here with a couple of block check valves that allow fuel to be a fuel pump. But it might have one that runs straight in through the tin. I would think so, because there's no way it's going to gravity feed. The gas tank is actually lower. Yeah, the gas tank's lower than the carburetor. So that's not the case. The pump must be functioning. But let's get the air cleaner off. We'll get the carburetor out. We'll take a peek at that. I'm sure that's going to need some going over. He said he cleaned it, but not that thorough. So we want to get in there. We also want to see if there's any remnants of mouse nest. He said it was, again, packed with mice. I am not seeing anything. I see a little bit right there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything down in the tins at the moment. Oh. Let's get that air cleaner out of our way. And do our best not to drop hardware down the intake. I don't think anything else is holding the tin. Or there could be. I couldn't see. You guys didn't tell me. Okay, of course it's a different size. Of course it is. Alright, we got choke, throttle linkage we can get right now. Slip the flip off. Should come out. And cable off the choke, and then a fuel line. 2 half-inch bolts, looks like, are down below it. Look like they're going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to get off. I am going to pull this tin off so we can have access to the bottom bolts a little bit better. Reach that one. That one. It might be good enough. I think I can catch that one right now. When you're holding it. Yeah. We are on the hunt for mouse nests, so we might as well open her up. What do we need? Those 9/16ths? See that one. That one can move too. Remembering where this is all going, right? I'm gonna quiz you later. Might have to wait until we get the throttle out of the way, the choke rather. See if we can get that fuel line off of there. See if it squirts fuel or not. Come on. What we might do is maybe we'll crank it and we'll see what kind of volume we get maybe that pulse pump is just so weak at a crank it doesn't perform, and then when you rev it up, it has enough to have flow, you know. It's a guess on my part. All depends on what we find in the carburetor. If we find issues in the carb, then we'll blame it on that, but I'm kind of suspecting this, especially with that plugged off line on the bottom that has me a little on the suspicious. We should be able to get that tin out of there now. There we go. And hopefully, not too much of a fight. Nah. These also have a split intake manifold. What I mean by that, the manifold's got a higher and a lower section to it. I'm talking about this right here. And they're sandwiched together, and they sometimes have a tendency to leak too, so it'll cause an intake leak, cause them not to run all that great. Got to run around to choking on a little bit. This is going to take me a little bit of time. Might be able to get in there with a 1/4 inch ratchet. There's just not much swing, and that wrench is too big. One closest shoe is already out, and the other one is to the point where you can spin it with your fingers. Let's take her apart on the bench. Here's what I was talking about. Looks like somebody's already been in here with some silicone. And that might be a leak right there. But see how sloppy that is? I don't think that's factory. Could be, but looks like somebody might have been in here in the past. And you can see the breakdown down in there, so the two halves meet. I ended up disconnecting power to the coil. Put a jumper pack back on. I put a fuel line in the jug. Let's go see what we get for flow, if it'll go, if it'll crank. What it has for flow coming out of that fuel pump. It took a little bit, but that should be enough to get it to go. And run it just a little bit more. See if we get any water settling out of that fuel. Looks like there might be. I'm going to put that on the side. We're going to let that settle and see if water settles to the bottom of it. I've already drained the fuel out of it. And it had a good volume to it, so it wasn't empty. Part of me is starting to suspect that intake manifold. I ended up ordering a new seat because I like to cruise in style. That seat's pretty much boogered up. So $90 delivered. We got a new seat. Should be a couple of days yet before that comes in. And I'm gonna keep an eye out, like I said. I do have I'm not sure if it's a snowblower or a plow. I want to say it's a snowblower. Gives you an idea how much junk I got. I don't even know what I have. That is a John Deere. Whether it be applicable for this or not, I don't know. It really does not look bad. So we'll get a little screwdriver, pull that jet out. We got to pull that out, and then the main jet is going in through the side there. And then we have an idle air fuel mix right here. Let's get the cap off of it, and let's go run it in. It's a half, 1 1.5. We'll call it 1 3/4. That's got some crap in there. I don't know if it's gonna show. Right dead center is a piece of dirt sitting on there. I might just fell in when it came apart though. Let's go grab some better screwdrivers. Might be a little too small for that. I can see through those. I can't tell right now if I can see through the smaller ones. But that's why we're here. Ah, you knew that was going to happen. Alright. So that's metric. Kind of, you know, made in Japan, yeah. Sticking the tractor, John Deere, being USA. Let's not lose that. And now we got to get that inner one out of there. See if this will fit down. It will not. I gotta get something that works correctly. I'm not sure if you can see it right down the center there. It's tore out pretty good as far as the brass screw on the sides. I didn't do all that. I just started on it. I just started adding to it. I'm going to do my best to get that out of there, but that might be an issue. Don't know. Did it go? Yep. Need a little love tapping, that's all. Good. That's kind of the most important one you want to get out, you know. That's the one that's clogged the most. You can see how thrashed it is. And quite clogged in the center. Yeah, I can still see through it. I think this thing is ready for a date with the ultrasonic cleaner. Anything else we can get out of it? Get the gasket off without trashing it. If not, we're going to leave it. We're going to leave it. I'm not going to pull the Welch plugs out of it. Sometimes there's another deeper in that you can get to. I do see a bunch of crap in there though. Yep. Let's go pick it up. It's center. It looks like it's a little on the dirty side inside there. Alright, it's going in the bath and I'm going to lunch. Alright, let's go take a peek how that gas settled out. It definitely has water in the bottom. So that is going to be part of the problem. There's just water in the fuel. Yeah. You can tell when it has that, you take it out, it's got that cloudy look to it. Milky, I should say. And lunch was delicious. Carburetor's back out of the bath, all blown out. The main jet is put back in. It's hard to hold on a screwdriver, so I just put it on a pin. Fed it in with there, turned it a little bit, got started, and then tightened it down with a screwdriver. And we got that one that needs to go in. I think I'm going to want to try to run that. I'm going to crank it for a little bit and let it purge some fuel. And let's see if we get the clean or clear fuel. I looked in the gas tank. It does not look bad. And there's about a half a tank in there. So if I don't have to, I don't want to pull that out. That's already been cleaned. The needle is already in. Now, is that the right direction? Does it go like that? Yep, so we gotta get that out. Lock it into its tab. There we go. That would have been wrong. Ah, it popped off. And you have to pop it out of your view for 1 second so that I could see it. Strike two. Lean downhill. Get in there. Get in there. Come on. There it is. I question whether it's still locked on though. Nope, pulling it up with it. Alright, we got it. Yes, I'm kind of iffy about what to do about the fuel in the tank. We have to oil purge it, but old gas is kind of a pain in the ass to get rid of too. Oil is easy, but gas you got to hold on to it and bring it to. We have like a recycle center the town does like 4 times a year. I usually catch it about twice a year. And I have a old boat gas tank that I put fuel in, and I just dump it there, and they give you the container back. But usually you're dealing with like a quart at a time, not 4 gallons. So I'd rather not if I don't have to, but if we do, we do. So we're gonna go, before we put the carb back together, we're gonna go cycle that some more and see if we can get it to run to clean fuel. A lot of times, so water's heavier than gas, it goes to the bottom. So it's what gets picked up off the tank first. And when you let the fuel pump run with no restriction, it's got a much greater volume. When the fuel pump is hooked to the carburetor and it's just in operation, it's using very little fuel. It's not, the volume's not going through and the carburetor's using it all up. The volume is much smaller. So as it's giving little pulses, the water has a tendency just to stay in the little low spots, either in the fuel line, fuel filter, that kind of thing, and doesn't really come out that easy. But sometimes when you crank it and you push it through, you can get it to run clear. So that's what we are going to try. We also need, you're not done. That caused a little bit of a leak. And then we got, what do we say, 1 3/4, and that is a 12 that we're going to tighten with a 1/2 inch. And the fuel mix, we're going to run that in. Come out 1 3/4. It's a 1/2. It's 1, 1 1/2, and a skosh. So I popped the plugs out of it just so the engine will spin over easy. And the side closest to us is really wet and the other side is really dry. Not sure if that's indicating any kind of an issue. Let's see how this does for us. Let that settle out, and that looks good. We'll change out the fuel filter, probably that fuel line right there, and do some reassembly, see how it runs. Yeah, and as that fuel set, it's doing the same thing. It does have water in there, so I'm gonna have to purge that whole system. But for now, I put a temporary tank on it, feeding it to the carb, and there's a shut-off switch on the side. If that shut-off switch works, we shouldn't be getting fuel out of there, but if we do, we'll shut it off real quick and crimp it. But that should be able to run off of that tank. We should be able to tune it and get it to run smooth. If we can't, then we'll chase whatever issues are around, and we're eliminating the bad fuel part of it. All right, see what we get. Got no choke on right now, and the throttle is all the way down. Crank it for a second. Well, that started a lot easier. I'm going to adjust the air fuel mix for the idle. Sounds pretty good. A little tappy. I don't think the valves are adjustable on this. I'm not sure. I gotta go look it up. It's not bad. Let's go check the hour meter, see if it's working. Yeah, it is. All right. I'm not sure what I want to do. I might set this up on a jerry can on the side. We'll let it run off the other tank, and we'll just let it keep pumping fuel through. And hopefully maybe we'll get the good stuff, but I have a feeling I'm going to end up purging it all. Yeah, so I went and looked in my stash. I grabbed another gas cap. Unfortunately, this one's so fogged out you can't see what the gas gauge reading is because it has a float on the inside of it, and as the float goes up and down, it rotates a needle. That could possibly be polished up, but all I'm concerned about right now is making sure that water does not egress down the inside of that, like that one was doing, causing our issues. I do have a fuel line added to it, and that is going to a gas can on the floor. So just like we said, I'm going to fire it up, let it run off the other can, and let it pump fuel through for a little bit, and we'll check on it periodically and see if we get it coming out clean. If not, we'll just purge all of it. Yeah, let's see how that runs for a little while. Let's try just leaving it on idle with no choke, see if it'll fire. It's been probably about 45 minutes. That makes it pump. Not seeing anything. So that has a reserve and a run. I put it on reserve, and reserve was getting nothing. When it was on reserve, nothing was happening. When it's in the normal spot, it's pumping fuel. A little low beat. Yes, it is full of oil. I'll let that go for a bit. Take a look at that. Well guys, I think we got pretty much a fairly long video going already, so I think we're going to break this one off here. It seems like it's running decent. The fuel looks like it's okay. We'll take a peek at it in a second, but I think the fuel's all right now. we could probably hook that back up. I may do some cosmetics on it. I still have to change fluids and all that, but while I got it apart, I may spray some of the tins and all. I said a new seat's coming, and I'm still looking for an implement for the front of it, either a plow or snowblower, to be used here at this property for winter time when it gets time to go clean up. So with that, I want to thank y'all for kind of hanging out with me and doing some wrenching on stuff. And we'll get together soon on the next one. Let's go see what we got for fuel. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. We're not getting a little puddle. We're not getting a little puddle down below anymore of water separating out. So that was not helping the situation. And I also figured out what the extra line is right here. So what it was, it probably had another one going to the pet on the side for reserve, and it would just draw from either one of those two locations, I'm thinking, for the reserve. I'm not sure of that. That's my best guess, because when you turn it to reserve, no fuel goes through it. Who knows? All right, guys, well, I need to go do some work on Krusty and get it ready for a couple of car shows coming up, and that's why I'm signing off. So until the next one, I will see you possibly when we are maybe mounting something on the front of that, or maybe not, or who knows. We're gonna play it by ear, see how this video goes over. If it's got good following, we'll continue just doing all the pieces of it. If not, I'll just bring it back when we're putting something else on it. Till then, later. You can care less that I'm here.